I am Dr. Wes Magness, College of Business Assistant Professor, and I am a Coppin grad. And the panel topic is let me start with this statement. Entertainment and media industries are resetting expectations, refocusing inward, and recharging growth. According to PricewaterhouseCoopers' 24th Annual Global Entertainment and Media Outlook, the 5-year forecast of evolving forces has estimated the entertainment industry's growth at $2.9 trillion market by 2027. Today we're here to discuss how we support students in business and entrepreneurial endeavors, break into entertainment, media, and sports. And we're going to start with a panelist introduction, beginning right in front of me with...
With me?
Yes.
Oh, good afternoon. Good morning. Good morning. I am Dr. Richardson. I am the program coordinator for the sport management program here at Coppin State University in the College of Business. I guess that's enough.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sherida Morrison, professor in the College of Business for Entertainment Management.
Hello, good morning. My name is Jamar Taylor. I'm an management information system major. I'm a trainer for students in mutual assistance.
Hi, my name is Autumn Brevard. I'm a senior sports management major with a minor in marketing, and I'm also a transfer student. I came from University of Maryland Eastern Shore.
My name is Makai Slaughter. I am a junior sport management major here at Coppin State, and I'm not a transfer student. No shade.
All right. We've already introduced ourselves, so I'll introduce myself. For Professor Morrison and Dr. Richardson, Coppin does a great job with partnering with industry. Please tell us about your past and current partnerships.
Okay, so we have one of our partners in the room. So we have Oakview Group in the room. I'll just share a little bit. So sport and entertainment, as Dr. Magness shared, is set to be a $2.9 trillion industry. How many of you all feel like you use or engage entertainment on a regular basis? Everyone has a phone. You're doing something with media, social media. There's interaction always. We get in elevators, we attend parties, weddings. There's forms of media, entertainment, and sport engagement, and a lot of things that we do. So the industry is broad. We're looking at things such as e-sport, music, entertainment, social media, general sports. Of course, we see the NFL, NBA, golf, all of those things. But one of the things that we love about being in the school of our College of Business here at Coppin is that our focus being entertainment and business as well as sports, we have the blessed and fortunate opportunity to engage industry partners at all angles. So we're partnering now with Wasserman. We've partnered with Fearless Technology and their Impact Fund, and we're working on a project proposal with Oakview Group. You all may be familiar with CFG Bank Arena, so they're coming in to help us with the engagement of our young people.
Yeah. Another group that we have a partnership with is Dream Academy. Actually, Autumn was a Dream Academy intern this past, usually in the fall, right?
Yeah.
And we had another young lady, Alexia Alston, who was one just this past spring. Dream Academy, it starts off, it's a virtual internship, it starts off, but at the end of it, they end up going to work at major events. Also, that, and trust me, and actually, the director is a former classmate of mine from my doc program, and he contacted me, he loved our Coppin students, he loved the energy that they gave and brought to the events that they all pledged. And like I said, when I say major events, it's NASCAR, it's college bowl football season, Major League Baseball, National Hockey League. This is real, actual resume building experience that they get. We also had another partnership, and thanks to Autumn, who was the very first and the only HBCU student from the MEAC to be part of the Delta Business Plan. The Delta Business Plan was an internship that was only for HBCUs. The cohort was small, only 6. She was chosen out of hundreds of applicants, and only 6 were chosen. And Delta, it was Delta Airlines, and basically they worked with the NBA. So they flew, was it every week or every couple of weeks?
Yeah, so we flew out every other week, and we got to talk to, basically Delta has, they have Delta hubs, which are in different states. So we went to the 4 hubs that they had that was connected to the NBA. So I went to the Atlanta Hawks, the New York Knicks, the Utah Jazz, and the Los Angeles Lakers. And basically within the last 3 months, about 3 months, I was basically a hybrid student. So a week I'll be with the Delta Business Program, and then a week I'll be at school. And it was kind of like the on and off scenario, but in all actuality, the program was created for us to learn about what happens in the NBA front offices. So I got to meet the GM for the Utah Jazz, which was really, really cool, and got to hear his story, how he came from being a tech person now being an owner and, owning the Utah Jazz, which is some people don't know the dynamics of how the NBA is connected to tech, or how the NBA can be connected to entertainment. So we got to learn all the dynamics about that, and it was a really cool opportunity.
Just FYI, she got to meet Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and LeBron James, which broke my heart because I did. Now, next question.
This question is for Makai, Jawan, and Autumn. You participated in a partner project with the Fearless Impact Fund. Tell us about the project and provide us with 2 characteristics you've strengthened. And can you share a particular success story around engagement?
Hey, I can take that one. I would say, so this past winter, from January 8th to about February 2nd, us including Lauren, she's not here with us, but Lauren, we had to come up with an engagement plan for Fearless. For Fearless, they want an engagement plan for this new space that they're building inside of CFG Bank Arena. So they hired us to come up with an engagement plan for ways that they can make impact in the city of Baltimore, whether that's younger students from high school, college, but also to even reaching outside of that. So we were trying to figure out what ways from diversity, what's maybe the need that what's the need that that age group may need, whether that's from resume building to even being able to get that exposure, or even if it's food, because at the end of the day, when it comes to resume building and things of that nature, you can't get a job without a resume. So, and a lot of people typically don't know how to create a resume. So if we can come up with
I got your back. We could come up basically with ways that we can not only build up students and build up the community, but also bring them into a space and an environment that they can enjoy. Then how can we do that? So that was basically our project. So we all had different parts. Y'all can speak about it, but I did basically the social media and the marketing for it, and then Jawan and Makai had their own parts. But overall, in the space that we have, we got to see each other work in different aspects. We all had Professor Morrison's class, so we got to see each other outside of the class and see how we work, to see how can we as HBCU students come up with something that's going to be used not only for us but for other people in the Baltimore area and community.
Yeah. So, yeah. And my job was I was a research analyst, basically look at the different trends and also to figure out what companies would be good to partner with Fearless. And not just any company, the companies had to, match the mission statement of Fearless, which is creating impact and, engaging the community.
In my specific job, I was more so kind of like a community outlet specialist. So what I would mostly be kind of following around doing was finding data around, what type of demographics we have in Baltimore and how we're looking at when it comes to Black and Latinx communities. So I looked at demographics such as how many people in the Latinx community in Baltimore have graduated from college, graduated from high school. What's the percentage in comparison to who haven't graduated from high school? What's the average household income? Things such as that. So we wanted to really take that data and really hone into it, because being able to drag that data out of sources and being able to analyze it and understand it is where Fearless is going to be able to set their avenue, where they're going to be able to help their impact, because the mission statement that they want to help 100 million people?
Yeah.
100 million people by 2030. So our job was to show them the way and the avenue of how they can get to reaching that goal of helping 100 million people by 2030.
100,000. Sorry. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, oh, it's 100,000. Yeah. So yeah, my brain's like, wait, 100 million, 100,000, but yes.
All right, next question. This one is for Professor Morrison, and I was just reading it over, but I'm gonna customize it a little bit because I got on the spot. One, I can do that. And I know she can answer. How can HBCU programs leverage the allure of entertainment industries to enhance educational curriculums and career readiness among students? And what is our relationship at Coppin with the Baltimore metro area in terms of entertainment?
So, and even though I know it's for me, I don't know it's for maybe Dr. Richardson wants to chime in as well. But I think there is an allure, like when we look at pop culture, we see pop culture everywhere. We see it in dress, we see it in the way language is used. You know, I just asked one of my students a word yesterday, like, what does that mean again? Like, you know, like I had to learn what capping meant. I saw it on social media first with the blue cap, but then I had to learn what capping was when I stepped into the classroom and the students educated me. I do believe there is a draw or an allure to the entertainment space by students. It's an attraction by way of culture, and that just happens in general through each generation. I think that we can use that allure, and I'll use our partners at Oakview Group. Recently, we got invited to, now I don't watch a lot of do a lot of concerts and things like that, but you know, being in the work, I get caught up to speed, and we were invited out to see Keisha Cole and Nicki Minaj. But one of the things that I thought in that experience was, in our partnership, we have an opportunity to see the space, understand how we can take the students that we have, help build up, motivate, build up their confidence, and then inject them into these spaces. So not only do they get the experiences that the students talked about, but they build up their confidence. And the perk is that, you know, we got a chance to see like some really great concerts, some great activity and action. I also think too, we limit our thinking about entertainment. We hear the word entertainment. I get this a lot with parents. We hear the term entertainment and we just assume it's entertainment. You know, like back in my day, it was the starving artist. You can't make anything of it in this world. But what we see online is a lot of social media gurus who become overnight successes or millionaires simply by using their forms or platforms of entertainment. And I think if we use those same media platforms to engage students, we'd be better suited. One of the challenges we've had, and we talk about this a lot, I talk every semester with my students about engagement, like how do we engage you better? Yesterday I learned about Fizz, and I'm like, well, how do I gain access to Fizz? I'm trying, I'm working on it. But Fizz is a social media platform where students get a chance to share. Look, y'all looking at each other like, you look out for my name, you see my name pop up. I think it's anonymous. It's anonymous.
Keep my name
out your mouth.
Yes. But it's a tool that gives students the ability to communicate with one another, but it's also a form of entertainment in a way that they engage. And, you know, like as another generation of leader, we're trying to figure out how to give wisdom and share that information. So I think using those tools and also utilizing the students' power of engagement, right? So this is not just for us, like our job is to bring you in and bring the students in and teach them, but it's also to activate their leadership skills. When I worked with the 4 students in the project that we worked on, I stepped to the back and acted like a facilitator. So they were put in the leadership position. We fought a little bit, but they were in the driver's seat. I stepped to the back and I said, here is the task. And when they had questions, I stepped in and said, here's how you answer this question. Here's how you approach this. Shift that, maybe acted more like a navigator than acting like a professor. So I stayed in the back while they took the lead and received some support. So I think a lot of this is around like relationship building with the student, for the student, but also putting them in the role of leading as well.
Also, just piggybacking on what Professor Morrison said, when people think of sport, they also think of, players, athletes, coaches, agents. Sport is entertainment, and entertainment is sport.
Yeah.
And sport is so much more vast than people actually think of it. In those, my goal is trying to get my students to broaden their perspective of what sport is. Sport is accounting. Every athlete has an accountant. Every large venue has an accountant. So I'm trying to get them, it's like not everybody's going to get to work next to a high profile athlete. And I'll be honest with you, for somebody who did, get another job. If you don't want, if you like answering your phone at 3 in the morning, then that's great. But there's events operation. Just recently I met some women who work for Sodexo. And they're at every large event, Super Bowls, everything, because Sodexo is hospitality, and you think who's taking care of those luxury suites? That's Sodexo or Thompson. So if there's ways for you to be connected to sport and entertainment, and not necessarily touching the entertainment. The entertainer. And I'm talking, I used to drive limos. Trust me, you don't want to do that. But as I said, trying to get you to think about sport. Also, Professor Morrison and I, we also are trying to get you to, I'm putting it out.
Right, doctor.
Also getting students to think about yourself as an entertainer or a sport person from an entrepreneurial mindset.
Yes.
Everybody's going to work for somebody for a certain amount of time. But you can also, she's an entrepreneur herself. I'm trying to get there. But it's like one day you might walk into the office and look at everybody and go, you know what? Nah, not today. But if you have your own business, you might be able to do that. But like I said, sport and entertainment are so big. Who would have thought working the big scoreboard, that's a job. And things have come back starting. I really started to see it when I was a student in the 90s, but doing stats for games. That people they're not, most of the people who do that are not associated with the universities. They're contracted. That's a job. So it's like there's all these other things out there, and who knows, you might be sitting on the next new thing in sport and entertainment, but you don't know if you don't go out there and try. And they said try and actually fail, because what failure does is tell you to think about that in another way. It's not a bad thing. Failure just creates more, it makes your brain work more.
And there are a lot of the ancillary roles, the marketing and everything else. But like I just said in a panel, and the NFL is looking to move away from working with the traditional artists. So in lieu of buying licensing from Beyonce maybe, there are talks that they're looking at creating their own music industry inside. So looking for writers, people who know how to do production, engineers, like all of that creates an entirely different industry. So inside of the NFL. So inside of the NFL, there's music entertainment in addition to what you already hear.
All right. Next question is for Ms. Autumn Brever. Autumn, given the dual demands of business acumen and sports knowledge in sports management, what key insights have you gained about yourself? How do you apply what you've learned both in the classroom and through real-world projects?
That's a really good question. For me, I feel like what I've learned about myself is that I'm not as introverted as I thought. Like, I know people, like I would say to myself, like, I put myself in a box like, oh, I'm very, very, very introverted. But then when I would get around people, I like blossom in so many other ways than I expected. I definitely do feel like what I've learned in the classroom is literally what I do like in my internships. I tell students all the time when they ask me like, how did I get to the position? I say it's always 50 what you do in the classroom and 50 what you do like with internships and things like that. And I will say definitely in the classroom is definitely career building. I'll say everything that like I've learned from Dr. Richardson and Professor Morrison has brought me into like my internships and be able for me to blossom. Like even though I'm from Coppin, when I was around 6 other HBCU students that went to bigger HBCUs, I knew more knowledge, not because of where I was, but because of what my professors instilled in me. So I had like, we'll get into like different spaces, especially when it came to like resume building and kind of learning what sports kind of interview aspect looks like, and it came to resumes, and we all had to fill it up. And like, I think somebody was like, mine was the best resume, and they're like, how did you know that? And I'm like, because of what my school instilled in me. Like, if Dr. Richardson didn't tell us, oh, you had to have a LinkedIn, or oh, you didn't have to have it, like, you need to go get your resume checked out, I don't think like certain opportunities that I have like received would have never kind of came to par. Especially when it comes to resumes, because they've taught us, like, people look at your resume for 3 seconds basically. Like, if they have those, they see those keywords and they see the formatting of your resume, it's like, okay, cool, next pile. I'll look more in depth later. So that's something I've definitely learned and taught. But overall, for me, I'll say definitely the introverted thing, because I thought I would be like very shy when I got around other people in the spaces that I wanted to do. And in all actuality, I was very open, very, very bright, very talkative, trying to be a sponge and definitely learn, but also was able to add impact, especially to higher spaces. Especially, I would say, definitely when I went to New York and I got to talk to the Knicks and got to learn about just overall aspect of the NBA and how, like, the Knicks and the Rangers, what MSG looks like, talking about, like, entertainment, how, like, MSG, like, Madison Square Garden is not just the Knicks and the Rangers, but the concerts, the theater, how, like, MSG is not only in New York, but now in Vegas because they created the Sphere. Like, we got to talk about so many things, and the biggest conversation was diversity. How bringing more people that look like me into a space and asking those uncomfortable questions. I would be in rooms at the uncomfortable questions, people looking at me like, how did you know how to ask that? If it wasn't for my professors and making sure that I deserve a seat at the table, certain things that I would, be afraid to ask. And our goal for me in the sports industry is bringing more people that look like me so the players can feel more comfortable. I've been around so many players for the last 4 months, and the first thing they say is, it's not a lot of people that look like me that work with me. And it doesn't give me an aspect to be comfortable. So definitely, I could say being more open than I thought definitely took me in. So.
You can really tell she's an introvert.
I am though.
You have to pull it out of her.
Oozing out. Next question is for Dr. Richardson. Dr. Richardson, from your perspective, what role does sports play in shaping perceptions about wealth and success of women in sports? How can we use this to empower our students?
Well, as we know, women usually are paid less. If we're talking about the WNBA, when people found out how much Caitlin Clark's contract was. But I always tell people, with the WNBA, you have to put things in perspective. When the WNBA first arrived in the 90s, the NBA was already 50 years old, okay? The WNBA is only 27 years old. So they're on par, but it needs to get better. Actually, the commissioner was on CBS Morning News this morning. They're working out, right now, new broadcast things. The reason why people saw so much women's basketball is because they got in better time slots. We were watching it at 3 in the afternoon. People are home, they're watching. You didn't put it on obscure channels. It was on free channels, ABC. It was on ESPN as well, but it was on ABC when you saw the basketball finals. Excuse me, the CBS. It was on a free channel, so we didn't have to go and have a ESPN subscription to that. They're doing better at making it more accessible. Also, I think that the owners are realizing they're not in it now just for the loss. But I said, things are coming now, like I said, the pay is becoming more equitable. Back in the 90s, if nobody knows the story, the reason why there's pay equity at Wimbledon is because of Venus Williams. Venus Williams was playing Wimbledon and literally after or before her games having meetings with the directors of Wimbledon pleading the case that the women's game was more exciting. The women's game had the same, if not more viewership than the men's, yet they were getting paid less. And Wimbledon now, like I said, the money is even now. It really takes these advocates. Nneka Ogwumike, who was the NBA player rep, during COVID, WNBA, the Players Association, they really fought for things. The WNBA, I will say, has moved the needle far more than the NBA has, simply because they've had to. You've got guys who sit on the bench at the NBA. Just sitting left bench in the NBA will get you $2 million. You don't ever see it during game time. You're the head cheerleader for $2 million. Whereas you sit on the bench in the WNBA, if you get $60,000, you're lucky. You know, people are like, but they only work 4 months. Well, you know, but they work. And I can tell you, Caitlin Clark is about to get a surprise because she and Camila Cardoza, they all flew on private jets in college. Now they're about to get on Southwest, you know, anytime, anywhere fare. You can't. Hoping they got a boarding pass. You know, but seriously, they're about to go to, you know, that's the thing that they're working on now in sport, trying to get that travel equity. Because think about Camila Cardozo was what, 6'5"? She's 6'7", and she's going to sit in a Southwest Airlines seat like me. And you know, I'm not the tallest person, and I'm still, you know, trying to get this going. So we've got to understand it's viewership, it's people understanding that the league is young, but investing in that. Because like I said, Nike just gave Caitlin Clark a $28 million shoe contract. But my thing is, where are the women of color? The only black woman with the shoe contract was Cheryl Swoops, and that was when the leagues first started. You're telling me Asia Wilson doesn't deserve her own shoe? You're telling me that Candace Parker, I know she had a deal with Adidas, I don't know, but she never had her own shoe. But yet Sabrina Ionescu came out and had her own shoe. What's the young lady? No, actually Breonna Stewart doesn't have her own shoe. Sue Bird has her own shoe, Diana Taurasi has their own shoe.
And I think, can I add something to that? I think what's crazy is because like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese have the most like spotlight right now, right? And you see how Caitlin gets a whole shoe deal for $28 million, and then you see Angel Reese get brand deals back to back to back, but nothing as powerful as that. And I think, kind of answering to your question, in order for young women that look like us to feel respected in the game and in the workplace, it's to seeing more people that look like us. And that's the only way it will change, honestly, and getting that representation for real. Because for me, when I go into offices, especially being like in a space where I've seen it, when I went to the Hawks, it's a lot of culture. You know, you're going to see black women, you're going to see, you know, it's a lot of culture going into that front office compared to when you go to Utah and it's only 3% black people and you don't see people that look like you, but then you want us to travel across country to work for you. Yeah. You see, it's just like basically, I would say to get people to want to go is to have people that look like you in leadership to represent you in a proper manner.
And just real quick, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, their jerseys are sold out. For a long time, and they combined have sold more jerseys than the entire Dallas Cowboys football team last year.
Nobody wants the Cowboys. No.
But the thing is, this is the thing, as I tell my classes, women actually, we control the dollars. Most of you, if you have a football jersey, most likely your mother bought you your first piece of athletic paraphernalia. So you have to appeal to women. The NBA was, you know, the NFL was very smart with that, and a lot of women, you know, the NBA as well. So women are like, they're now fully engaged. But now you have to find another way to engage us outside consumerism. You have to be invested in women. The NBA has to be invested in women outside of just ticket sales. There has to be more. And you have to be invested in women of color, because women of color are still predominantly the leading force in the WNBA. And I said, Caitlin Clark has been put in a really precarious situation because of the records she broke. Because as they came up, we started saying, well, wait a minute, what about Lynette Woodard? What about this person? Because, you know, if you don't know about the AIAW, there was basketball before, you know, the NCAA didn't take over college women. They stole it from the AIAW, let's put it like that. But you don't hear a lot about, you know, you didn't hear a lot about Cheryl Miller. Actually, you didn't even hear a lot about Nancy Lieberman, who to me was the first superstar, and the leagues that came before what we have right now. So they're being very selective in history, and they put Caitlin Clark in kind of a, I will say they've started a narrative basically black versus white. And I said, I think that's not fair to Caitlin Clark, because she just did what she did. And then these narratives started to come out of that. She will show herself to be whom she is, but I think the media needs to get past this whole, you know, the white girl from Iowa, yay, she's saving the WNBA. No, all the girls who are, all the women who have been drafted in the WNBA, you know, in the past 5 to 10 years with their.
Wow. right. This next question is for Jawan and Makai. In what ways do you see your education helping you to navigate and innovate within the highly competitive workforce?
Can I go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I think that the classes that I've taken and the knowledge that I've gained, not only from BCCC but also from coming here, I think that what I've learned is that most of the times your education is really affected by how good your professors are. Mm-hmm. And coming to Coppin State, while I was at Baltimore City Community College, I didn't have too much connection with a lot of my professors, especially because I was coming up during COVID. So my first basically like year and a half, I was taking online classes, and then I came in for like 2 semesters, and I never really built any type of school spirit. I never really built any type of connection with anybody. And my first introduction to building a relationship with a professor here at Coppin was with Dr. Morrison. And I really appreciate Dr. Morrison because I think that she has helped me not only with coming out of my shell and with being able to put myself on the forefront and being able to tell myself that I do belong in a room with certain types of people. At one point I believed that a lot of things I did really didn't amount to much. And coming to Coppin, seeing the way that all the professors interact with us, seeing the way they actually care, they want us to engage. Like my marketing teacher, Dr. Lucas, she actually brought in one of her friends who owns a natural deodorant brand called Good Plus Plenty, and she wanted us to actually work with her and try to basically help her promote and sell her project. And I think that being able not only to using your standpoint as a professor and being able to elevate your students to that same standpoint and showing them that, hey, I'm your professor, you can be in the same position I am one day. I'm no different from you. And I think showing that type of camaraderie, I think that showing that type of grace to your students really not only builds up their confidence, it builds up their courage, but also makes them want to put themselves out there more. Like what Autumn said. Autumn said that at first she felt like she's more introverted. And now she's in front of a bunch of people that she might not know, that she might do know, talking about that big project that she participated in. So I personally think that it's really all about it's personally really about the person that you're learning from. Because the people that you're learning from really can push you far and put you in the position that you want to be.
Yeah, and kind of piggybacking off what Jawan said, like that platform is so important. Like I feel like with Professor Morrison and Dr. Richardson, that they have, for myself, have put me on that platform. With, we tried to do the project with the lacrosse project, and it was falling apart. But it's not our fault, not the lacrosse. It's more the league's fault.
Not my fault.
It's not. It's nobody's fault.
Just like dumping it on me.
Yeah, it just happened. But I look at Professor Morrison giving me the opportunity to do the fellowship with these great group of people for Fearless. Like that's a platform that she didn't have to give me that opportunity. That's not an opportunity she just gave to everybody. Also, to just coming to a smaller school, I just feel like you have the ability to be able to build more of a deeper connection with professors like Dr. Richardson and Professor Morrison. Because if you go to a bigger school like Maryland, Ohio State, it's kind of difficult to get that one-on-one connection. I mean, they talk about, like my mom talks about, because she went to Ohio State, is like they had 400 freshmen in their freshman seminar. Our freshman seminar only had like 20 people. So like that's a big difference versus you go from a number to an actual name. So that's one thing is the smallness of the school and to be able to build connections with Professor Morrison, Dr. Richardson, even with the dean, the business dean, and Dean Gregory. Those is very important to have elevate me, to push me and all of us forward.
And the thing is, actually, because we're so small, when you do things with us, this is stuff you can put on your resume. This is not Du Bois stuff. Yeah. This is not, we're just giving you some tasks because we need to fill in your work study hours. You're getting real experience.
Yeah.
And also, because it's smaller, we get to know you. I'm a small college person as well. I have my mentor who I've had for over 30 years, that HBCU grad, that I stay in touch with, these people. That's the beauty of being at a smaller college, is connection. And for students, we can see you now. And if we see you, we're throwing, it's like, oh, this is gonna be good. We're throwing stuff directly at you. When we see your hustle, and flow, and we know, oh, you know what, that CFG arena thing, I'm gonna tell everybody, but I'm really gonna tell that person and that person.
Yes.
Because we know that we see your hustle, and we know that you have what it takes to be in those spaces, and so we're gonna push you out there. Like I said, we support everyone, but not everybody's going to be up to the task. Not everybody is brave enough to put themselves out there. But if we see it, we're going to nurture it.
And I want to add one more thing. I want to bring up something that Dr. Morrison brought up about engagement when it comes to engaging the students. I think that one of the most important things, especially when you're talking about something like business, entertainment, and things along the line of that field, that it's really important that you put the students in that position to feel like she said, to feel like they're the leaders. This is on them. You might, every once in a while, you might jump in, and they might be going down the wrong path, and you're like, no, let's come back, think about it a different way. I'm not going to tell you how to think about it, but I'm telling you right now that way is not the way you should probably go about it. And putting you in that position and being able to take what we learn from our classes and then being able to apply it in a real scenario, that opens up the mind of a student very well. Because a lot of times people, when I first came to college, the first thing I thought about was that is it going to be going to classes, is you going to be taking notes, taking tests, and doing homework, and that's all it really was for my first 2 years. My first semester here was last semester, and that was the first time I saw anything different coming from my university. And I think that being able to show your student that the things that we're doing in class are actually worthwhile. The things that we're doing in class, you're actually going to be able to apply. You're actually going to be able to use. We're not just throwing it at you because it's busy work and we don't care about it. We're throwing it at you because we know this is stuff you're going to use, and then we're going to show you exactly how you're going to use it.
Yeah, just about on that. I remember Professor Magness had said the one class we take, the rec classes.
Yes.
The big thing about him in that class is he says it doesn't really matter if you can, you know the answers in the book. Can you take those answers from the book and apply it into a real situation? And that's really what it's all about. Because at the end of the day, you can cheat on tests. You can cheat, but you can't cheat in the real world.
That's it. I'll tell students in a minute. I don't care if you can use the book in my class, because I'm not, that's just going to help you out. But the thing is, it's the projects that I'm giving you is what I'm really rating on.
Yeah.
It's like, because honestly, this could be the newest edition of that book, but by the time you've gotten that book, that's already old information. Books are much like technology in that sense. But actually, like I said, Dr. Magness is a graduate of the Coppin State Sport Management Program. And he talks a lot, I always listen to him because he talks a lot about when he was a grad student here, that he got actual hands-on experience. They were actually doing things. And to me, that's the only way you learn is by getting your hands dirty, succeeding and failing. That, the book stuff, that's, like I said, that's great and everything. And you can, it's like basically, remembering your Easter speech.
Right.
After it's over, it's gone. Yeah, Jesus wept, moving on. But can you continue to, use that theory? Can you continue to use that practice?
I definitely agree on all of that, and I like that our teachers do projects. I think projects is a big thing, especially coming from like a person that, like, I'm not gonna say I'm a bad test taker, but I do get test anxiety, and I think a lot of students do too. So when we get to do projects, I think it puts us in a space where we actually can do the work.
Yep.
I think like right now, like with me and Makai, we're doing Dr. Magness project, and I think like that was one of the best projects I had this semester. Even though I was a hybrid, I think really getting into like world like problems is like, that was really fun because I got to interview people, talk to people. Like when you do projects that are very interactive, I think it's really well for students to get to learn. And yeah, like I definitely like the fact that we do projects a lot at Coppin.
Yeah, I think it definitely helps with your experience. I can even share a quick personal experience. Can we be on this question for a little bit? So I'm gonna share a quick personal experience about how I think that doing this internship and what this fellowship has helped me. I had to, during our project with the Fearless Foundation, we had to do a lot of things like personas, marketing targets, finding data analysis, all types of things like that. So, and when I came to my marketing class, one of the projects but actually the term project that we had to do was pretty much the exact same thing. And so I was like, I know this.
Yep.
I can do this. I was able to, I did my project on the Charmery, which I don't know if y'all know. Charmery's ice cream shop in Hamden, Towson, what's it called, Chevy Chase. Then they have two other locations as well. And I was actually able to get in contact with the actual CEO and director. And I had my own personal interview with him. I took the information from that and I turned it into a Canva project. And when I showed my teacher was like, wow, this was literally everything I asked for. And knowing me, I probably would not have been able to reciprocate that same quality if I wasn't put in that position to be that leader at the Fearless Foundation Fellowship. So that engagement really does help students go a long way when it comes to actually applying the information you learn in class.
And I know it's probably another question, but I do want to say, because of the dynamic work, we're talking about like youth entrepreneurship and empowering young people at this conference. But because these three did such a phenomenal job, like we got invited to do E3, I think Ice Cube's doing E3 June 29th or something, invited to do that, and then something with Chris Brown we're planning out. But because they did such a phenomenal job, the organization's like, send us some more young people who would be really great at doing similar work. So during today's conference, I'm stopping like, I need to see you, I need to see you, I need you to come see me too, because they're great opportunities to do just what Jawan said, is to build up your confidence and then go do the work so that when you get in these other spaces, you know what to do, right?
Also for like the students in here, don't be afraid to be the only one. Like, I think that was something I had to get out of my head. It's like, don't be afraid to be the only one, because you are setting the standard for other students that look like you. Like what Dr. Richardson was saying, I was the first student from Coppin to be a part of the Dream Foundation, and I set a tone for now. Alexia did it, and now she set a tone for the Delta Business class. I was the only person not from just Coppin, but from a MEAC representative. Now I set the tone for other students that want to come, not only from Coppin, but from the MEAC. Yep. It is okay to be by yourself. It's going to be uncomfortable for a little bit, but just know, like, you deserve a seat at the table, and don't allow other people to tell you otherwise. So yeah.
All right, we have like 2 minutes left.
I
don't know how. Yeah, why don't we do that? You can feel free to ask some questions. Keep it.
Any questions?
Well, we can take 12 minutes if we want, but we're gonna keep it going. Go ahead.
Okay, so I have a question. Hi, my name is Grace. My question is, what does resilience mean to you guys, and how does character impact everything that you're doing?
Okay, hi, Grace.
Praise.
Hey, Grace.
Praise. Yeah, I didn't know because you were whispering. Anyway, but welcome. Character is everything to me. Everything, people, you can talk about morality, but if you don't have character, you don't have morality. So that's the way I look at it. Your character will get you through a lot of things, and it will introduce you to a lot of things. If you're wrong, it's okay, because people will say, you know what, as I tell students, if you're wrong, don't lie to me. Lie to me tells me that you don't have character. Right. Tell me the truth, tell me you failed, tell me you just didn't know. I'm okay, we'll work with that. I'll try to teach you and give you the skills you need so that you won't be in that situation again. But if you lie, if you purposely try to deceive, I can't trust you to even give you, I won't even put you in a place to have an opportunity, because I don't know if you're lying to me, you will lie on me.
Yeah. I would say, yeah, like character, depending on your character, builds your resilience, see too. Like, if you're a person who gives up, if you're a person who, just can't get through the tough times, when it comes to, because at the end of the day, we're all going to go through tough times, but it's how you get through that road. Yeah, that's the big thing. And character, like you're saying, like if you one thing that I was taught is, if they'll do it for you, they're gonna do it to you. So like, if they lied, for the benefit of you, they'll also lie for the detriment of you.
Yeah.
So that's very important. That's why the character piece, and which is based on your morals, that's why the character piece is very important. Very important.
I feel like character is really big, and it speaks volumes, especially in the industry that like we want to go through, or like we're in.
Yeah.
It speaks volumes, because if you don't have like he said, strong morals and know your character, it could be detrimental to you, because you'll be in spaces where people will lie, deceive to get what they want, and you have to be able to stand on those morals and the character that you've already created to not be like them. Those, like, sometimes like people will push through those spaces to get what they want, not caring about how other people will feel if they're lying, being deceitful, doing anything. You have to make sure you're just standing on your morals to be able to do that, because in the sports and entertainment industry, it's very hard to get in, but it's even harder to stay in. And sometimes people do whatever they need to do to get a check. And you have to be able to make sure you're standing on what you believe in and what you know, to make sure you knowing your foundation and why you started and remembering your why. That speaks a lot on your character.
When it comes to the way that I see character, I think character also has a pretty direct pipeline to your credibility as well. I think that your character definitely shines what type of person you are, and your character definitely shines what type of people who are going to want to work with you. So, you know, when your character is, you don't want to, you want to be the best you can possibly be, but you also want to put your best foot forward and give you back into the world. Because like, you know, as we know, credibility is everything. The things you do on the internet can stay forever.
Yep.
The things that you put out in the world can stay forever. People can pull basically anything up about you at any time. So you have to be able to know your character and have a strong sense of your own character, so that you don't go against your morals, so that your credibility isn't fractured.
And I'll add for resiliency, resiliency is about how you fail. Like, we can fail forward, right? We've been talking about successes and wins and everything else, but sometimes we lose, right? How do you collect yourself in the process? It's like being like a bouncy ball effect, like being able to see yourself not winning and how you look at the ways that you learn from that and then collect yourself. Because losing isn't always a bad thing. It's looking at what I did wrong in the process, what maybe missteps happen, and how I collect myself in the end. And then when I think about character, also just kind of keep in mind that you're interviewing 24/7. Like, outside of when you're sleeping, you're sitting next to someone who's watching your character, looking at your demeanor, watching how you engage others. I did it in class. I told the students in class, like, I'm interviewing you while you come in. I watch students come in on time. I saw some people profusely come in late. Like, I'm judging your character. That's part of your character. I'm assessing you, because if I send you to a partner, are you going to show up every day on time, or are you going to be late all the time? You could be the smartest person in the room. I'm looking at that. You're being assessed by that. And a lot of faculty look at that. So when I watch the students I select, sometimes I'm like, hey, you know, I want you, and you, because I watch what you did. I don't need you to be the smartest, because being able to problem solve is a part of your character. Being able to think analytically is going to play in that as well. So looking at different aspects of who you are. Sometimes we can get I have students who are smart and they become high-minded, and they miss the mark, you know, like, and part of that is, and I say miss the mark, meaning they miss the concept that if I got an A, I don't have to do anything, I don't have to work hard. Because some students are just innately good, but that character piece is what we're looking at when we say go out to, you know, meet with a partner, because the partner wants to see, do you have the soft skills? Can you work with a team? You're gonna show up on time? How do you fit in our culture? And that is very important for the work that we're doing.
Just also, we talk to one another.
Oh yeah.
It's like you guys say,
listen.
Dr. Richardson, I would call Dr.
Magness.
What about, oh no, you know, we talk about you.
Yep.
Just like you all talk about us. We talk about you. If I send this person to that person, can I trust them to be the, you know, a good representative? We talk. We saw you. So, you know, you might think you've got a great relationship with Dr. Magness, and I'll say, Dr. Magness, you know, oh man, he did that in your class. Now I've got to rethink this. As Professor Morrison said, we're gonna make you a doctor. I swear to God.
He is already one, guys.
Yeah. We also talk, you know, when she talked failure, as I said, failure just says reevaluate. I find so many kids who just don't want to fail. They'll lie, cheat, and steal so they don't fail. Failure, I have fallen on my butt so hard and so far and so, you know, it's when you fall on your butt and failure hurts. But as she said, how do you gather yourself up? Because that's where we see your character. That's where we see it. And we're okay if you fail in our class. This is where you fail before you rise. We're going to help you understand that and deal with you. But just real quick, I have all my students, usually in my class, this is the first semester I haven't done it, I have the students dressed business casual.
Yes.
I address them all as Mr. and Miss, or Ms. And I said, one, because you should get used to that. Nobody should just be calling you by your name, because I used to work as a food server. Michelle's, she didn't bring my water. You don't know me? Why you have to be invited to call me by my first name. I want them to hear their name in a business way. Also, the dress is just because, and I said, I also call them Mr. and Miss because this is the thing. I'd be like, Autumn this, Autumn that, or if I call you by a nickname, you act like that nickname. But when I call you Mr., Miss, Ms., you elevate, you level up to be Mr. or Miss or Ms. The dressing is because I want you to understand that not every place you go to, when you're not going to get to just be casual. First of all, you need to learn how to dress business casual. That is a style. It's not just, because I got some kids who got sleep clothes and club clothes, and that's it. You have to learn how to be, because I tell they're professionals in development. As soon as you come to Coppin, you are a professional in development. And so it's our job to help you to develop those skills. That's, to me, how to dress is a soft skill. And even though there's less suit and tie now, there's still a way to dress. To be in that circle, because and students get mad at me. I say, well, try to go work at Chick-fil-A and don't come to work with your shirt.
Yeah.
Or McDonald's. You will either have to purchase another shirt or go home. You think less, but you gotta wear a uniform at McDonald's. If you don't get this job, Costco, you gotta wear your little vest. You have, so let's get used to being, like I said, everything I try to do is to prepare them to be professionals and be the best version of themselves when one of us send them out into the world.
Take one more question. We're already at 7 minutes over, so go ahead.
I actually don't have a question, but I came at Coppin during 2020, and all of you guys are my professors. My name is Marsha Carter. So it's nice seeing you.
Nice to meet you.
Yes.
Okay.
Dr. Richardson, you mentioned something earlier about mentors and mentorship. I think you said that you've had one for 30 years that's kind of an influencer in your career.
Yeah.
For me, I'm early on in my career, and that's been just hugely influential. Mostly all of them are not, graduates of my university, which is Ohio U. And that's been a big part of me, is jumping around these different colleges and different teams, organizations. Are these mentors outside of my, alumni, database? That's what to put it. So my question for you is, how are you guys building these relationships and mentorships with those outside of Coppin State University's alumni program?
Oh, well, you said outside of Coppin, like Coppin in general?
Yeah, alumni too.
Oh, yeah. So for me, it's so funny. My mentors are not at Coppin at all, actually. I actually met my mentor. Well, I'm saying, like, you guys are my professors, and they've been actually very influential, but I actually met my mentor. I actually met my mentor through Coppin, but it was funny. It was on a mock interview with the Chicago Bears, and the reason why I made this person my mentor, it wasn't because of the mock interview. Like he said, your interview was very, very well and everything, but it was the follow-up after the follow-up. And what I mean by that is us as students, they tell our teachers, and even when we do interviews, everything, make sure you follow up, make sure you connect, make sure you connect. He made sure I connected with him. Like if I didn't text him in a certain time, he'll be like, hey, like we said this time, but he holds me to a standard. And I think that's why I created him to be my mentor. And then when I actually met him in person, the vibe of not just being an adult and you being older than me and you being in the position that I wanted to be, but being also having the understanding that I am a student and that like I go through things and things happen and we have a really, really very good relationship. So yeah, that's like kind of how I created my mentor, by just networking and staying connected.
And I have a student who was my mentee, and he practically harassed me. He talked to me so much that my husband knew his name. He's like, are you on the phone with like, yeah, I am. He called every single week, but when he called, we were able not just to have like general conversation, but he wanted specific direction on a few things. Like I have this business and I'm trying to get people involved, and I'm like, well, you have to do some market research. Well, what does that look like? And like he was sometimes all over the place. Like I want to do this, and I had like 5 things he wanted to do. So we would become very I'd become directional with him about like, this is what you need to look at. You will always have an opportunity as an entrepreneur to open up 1,000 doors for yourself because that's your entrepreneurial mind, right? But we were able to say, like, you want to make this soap, then you need to create a survey. find 20 to 50 people that you can have a dinner with and eat whatever you want to eat, and then have them wash their hands with your soap. And then after that, get them to fill out the survey to see how it works. And, but we talked on a regular basis. So I think being able to build that in the student engagement, from the student to us, and I'll say my mentor actually worked here. I don't say any names, but my mentor worked here, and I think that just kind of watching people show up in their excellence helps me to show up in the way that I do for the students that I serve.
Quick thing, more than one. My mentor, he was my first real mentor. At my undergrad, and like I said, we stay in trust. But you need more than one mentor.
Yeah. Yes.
It's like one mentor doesn't do it because they're gonna get tired because if they're teaching, they got 20 other kids going die.
Yes.
What's up? LinkedIn accounts. I make my students get LinkedIn accounts. Why? Because you then have privy to my network. Go onto LinkedIn, find things that you're interested in, send somebody a message. Hey, I'm a student, I'm interested in what you're doing. Don't go with your hand out, go with your mind open. Yeah. Ask for them. Can I meet with you for a half hour and talk and discuss what you do? Also, peer mentor. I have a group of women, we're 6 of us, we call ourselves the Sister Docs. We've known each other since we were doc students. And we're peer mentors. We've all kind of come up through the ranks in higher ed. We've gone through, graduation, marriages, birth of children, divorces, death of children, death of parents, and we're there for one another. Go ahead.
And I just want to say, I was going to say we're standing between lunch. I would say to every professional in the room as well, we are working, I told the students, I think this semester, there are about 4 to 5 generations of us in the workforce, right? But you see a young person, connect with them. So every guest who's in here, connect with someone who's young. Sometimes I see like there's apprehension from young people to connect with another generation or folks in the workforce or in business, and vice versa. Yesterday I met the CEO of a company called Nava, and I met him by talking about our partnership with Oakview Group while I was getting a treatment. He was in the room getting the same treatment, and he said, hey, we should connect. He was like, I'm the CEO of Nava Health, and I run this whole thing. I'd love to talk to your students. But I think that sometimes there's an apprehension. Had we not had a common dialogue, we may not, or he overheard something I shared, we wouldn't have had that. But I'd say just kind of connect with the students. I have a chance to connect. I met Praise in the hallway, and I really didn't know. Sometimes I don't even know what to say, right? So I start with the basics, like, so tell me about yourself. What do you do? Like, where are you from? Like, oh, I know something about that, and try to find some relational connection, because they can help. You may be able to help them, but they can also help you as well. I love young people mentoring me and helping me understand some things too.
And if y'all need help with y'all LinkedIn's, I help out too.
All right. That ends this panel. We thank you all for coming. Everybody, appreciate you coming. I think it is now.
Time for lunch. That's downstairs in 109.
109.
Thank you all.